a cancer diagnosis, just hearing those words, it can feel like you've been dropped into this really complicated, totally foreign world.
Yeah.
It's definitely more than just a medical thing. It's this huge life-altering journey. And you absolutely need, well, a roadmap.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're basing this deep dive on a fantastic resource, Your Cancer Roadmap, Navigating Life with Resilience. It's by Kim Thiboldeaux, who's the executive chair of the cancer support community.
Right.
And it's really praised for being so comprehensive, very candid, but also just incredibly accessible. Helps you navigate the whole thing.
What really struck me, and I think it'll hit home for you too, is the foreword. It's by Dr. Jill Biden.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about how malignant is just like the most frightening word. And she really stresses that no one, absolutely no one, should face this alone.
That's so true.
And she shares her own experiences.
Yeah.
Cancer affecting her sister Jan, her son Bo. It just shows that universal need for community, for support, even if you think you're strong.
It really does. It underscores that completely. Even with all the personal strength in the world, there are definitely moments where leaning on others isn't just helpful, it's essential.
So our mission for you in this deep dive, it's basically to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the practical insights from this amazing book.
Yeah, give you a shortcut.
Exactly. A shortcut to being well-informed, feeling more resilient, and hopefully we'll add just enough, maybe surprising facts or moments to keep you hooked while you get your head around all this. Okay, so let's start right at the beginning of this roadmap. The diagnosis itself. That first step, it's often the most disorienting one.
Absolutely. Understanding your diagnosis is just, fundamental. The book points out it's not just hearing the news. It's about understanding how your doctor got there.
Right.
And recognizing that cancer is, it's incredibly complex. You're suddenly expected to absorb this huge amount of information really fast.
Yeah.
Like, the book uses the example of brain tumors. They're graded, grade I through Phi. Grade I cells look pretty much normal, unlikely to spread. But grade 4th. Those cells are growing fast, spreading easily within the brain. So that grading, it's not just jargon, it's critical info about how aggressive the disease is, how it might act for you.
Wow. Okay, so beyond that initial shock, the book quickly moves to something just as vital, maybe even more immediately actionable, building your support system.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so important right off the bat?
Because you really, truly shouldn't try to do this alone. The book strongly, strongly recommends bringing a friend, a family member, someone you trust to every single appointment.
Every single one.
Yep. This person is like your second set of ears. They take notes. They help clarify things later. It's emphasized that just the sheer emotion of getting a cancer diagnosis can actually mess with your thinking.
Right. Your ability to absorb stuff.
Exactly. Makes it hard to take everything in. So having someone there ensures you get all the information you need eventually when you're ready for it.
There's this great quote from Marianne. She's a breast cancer survivor. She said, "Bring that note taker because you will be surprised. As much as you think you are intelligent and you've got it all together, you will not remember something, or you and your spouse will remember it differently." That really drives it home.
It's so true, isn't it? And choosing that person. The advice is pick someone who's a careful listener, a good note taker, and really importantly, someone who respects your priorities, your values.
That makes sense.
And it's smart to talk about their role beforehand. Like, do you just want notes, or should they ask questions too, the whole appointment, or just part?
Oh, yeah. Setting expectations.
Exactly. Being clear up front helps a lot. And then beyond that immediate support person, you're also choosing your core medical team. Yeah. The book kind of frames this like a job interview where you're the boss.
I like that.
Yeah. It gives you these really sharp, key questions for the doctor. They're designed to get right to what matters when you pick your main oncologist.
Like what sort of things?
Well, things like their experience with your specific type of cancer. Are they board certified? How up to date are they on the latest treatments, clinical trials? Does your insurance work with them? And the hospital.
Okay. Practical stuff, but also expertise. And asking about a second opinion recommendation. That's a good test of their confidence, right?
It really is. You also want to ask, do they have an oncology nurse on staff? A social worker for support? What other services are available? How do you actually contact the team later with questions? Email, phone, visits.
So getting the logistics down.
Right. The book really stresses it's a whole team around you, not just the one doctor. Could be nurse navigators, social workers, dietitians, maybe even chaplains. And a practical tip they give is just keep everyone's business card. Makes it easy to reach the right person.
Laura, a multiple myeloma survivor, she really captured that. It's a whole team. It's not just the doctor. everyone has to be good at their jobs, and you have to trust the whole group. That idea of a trusted group changes things.
It does. And you, the patient, you're an active, empowered member of that team. Dave, who survived head and neck cancer, said it perfectly. Take a deep breath and ask questions. Become your own advocate. Ask for information and know the right questions to ask your healthcare team.
So being informed isn't just nice to have, it's like a core part of the process.
Absolutely critical.
Okay, so you've built your support system, you've chosen your medical team, laid that foundation. Now the roadmap shifts to the actual treatment journey, which can feel like a maze, right? So many options. What are the common treatments someone might face?
Yeah, it can definitely feel overwhelming. The book breaks down the main ones clearly. First, there's surgery, often the first step if the cancer can be, completely removed. Side effects, usual suspects, pain, fatigue, maybe bleeding, swelling, risk of infection.
Okay.
Then you have chemotherapy, chemo, powerful drugs attacking fast-growing cancer cells anywhere in the body. The common side effects people know are things like hair loss, nausea, mouth sores, low blood counts.
And what about treatments using energy, like radiation?
Right, radiation therapy or radiotherapy. Uses strong energy beams like X-rays to kill cancer cells, shrink tumors. It's targeted, but it can still affect nearby normal tissue.
Leading to side effects like
Things like skin redness or burns, maybe hair loss just in that specific area, fatigue, loss of appetite, nausea. And then a big one these days is immunotherapy.
right, boosting the body's own defenses.
Exactly. Helping your immune system recognize and fight the cancer. Side effects are often milder fatigue, maybe skin issues, fever, but sometimes they can be more serious, so important to monitor.
I've also heard about watch and wait. When does that come into play?
Yeah, watch and wait or active surveillance. That's an option when tests show minimal changes or you don't have symptoms. So instead of immediate treatment, you get regular monitoring. Treatment only starts if or when it's really needed.
Okay.
And, whatever the treatment, it's vital to understand how it's given, like through a vein or a pill, how often, where do you have to go?
Practical details.
Absolutely. And a great tip is ask your doctor to actually write down the drug name's brand and generic and the doses, just so you have an accurate record.
That makes perfect sense. But this raises a huge question. With all these options, how do you even begin to make sense of it all? How do you decide on the right plan for you personally? It sounds incredibly tough.
It really can be. And that's exactly why the cancer support community created their open to options model.
Okay, what's that?
It's basically a structured session. You sit down with a trained specialist, and they help you develop a list of questions. But here's the key. The questions are centered around your own values, your preferences, your priorities.
Oh, so it's not just medical facts, it's about what matters to you.
Precisely. The book gives this really compelling example. A hypothetical patient dealing with breast cancer that had spread, facing complex issues like needing a feeding tube, having stopped chemo because of bad side effects.
Wow, yeah, complex. So how did open to options help them figure things out?
Well, their list included exploring more chemo, maybe clinical trials, getting a second opinion. But crucially, it also mapped out their support network, their oncologist, family doctor, chemo nurse, even their husband who had memory issues, their adult kids, their support group, neighbors.
So the whole picture.
The whole picture. And their personal goals were really clear. They wanted to eat again. And if more chemo was the path, they wanted to get back to feeling somewhat normal as fast as possible. This model really helps weave all those personal threads into the medical decision-making.
That's fascinating. And it connects to how cutting-edge science is making treatment more personalized, right? Moving beyond that one-size-fits-all approach.
Definitely. That's where things like genetics and biomarker testing are changing the game. We know about 5 to 10% of cancers are linked to genes you inherit.
Like BRCA genes.
Exactly. BRCA1, BRCA2, also conditions like Li-Fraumeni or Lynch syndrome. So it's really important to share your family cancer history with your doctor, even if they don't specifically ask.
Good point.
And if genetic testing seems like a good idea, you might see a genetic counselor. They're experts at helping you understand test results, what they mean for your family, and making decisions about prevention or treatment based on that.
Okay, and then biomarker testing. How's that different?
So biomarker testing, sometimes called genomic or molecular testing, looks for specific changes in the genes or cells of the tumor itself. These are like signposts that can guide treatment.
Testing the tumor, not just your inherited genes.
Right. These biomarkers can unlock targeted therapies. Lung cancer is a great example. Huge progress there.
How so?
Well, scientists can now identify biomarkers like, say, PD-L1 proteins. These can act like a disguise for cancer cells, hiding them from the immune system. Or they find specific gene changes like RET or ROS1 fusions that are basically driving the cancer's growth.
Yep.
Finding these lets doctors use drugs that specifically target that mechanism. It's like finding the cancer's unique power switch and turning it off. Much more precise.
That's incredible progress. Now, something else that comes up is clinical trials. Lots of misconceptions floating around about those. Let's unpack that a bit.
Yeah, definitely important to clear those up. A really common myth is that all clinical trials use a placebo, like a sugar pill.
Right. People worry they won't get real treatment.
But the fact is, that's almost never the case in cancer trials. It would be unethical to give a cancer patient a placebo if a standard treatment already exists.
Okay, that's reassuring. What's another myth?
Another big one is thinking clinical trials are only a last resort, when everything else has failed.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The fact is, trials can give you access to brand new, innovative treatments way before they're FDA approved. They're part of this super rigorous, years-long research process. They can absolutely be a first or second option, not just the last one.
So not just for people out of options. Can you give us a quick rundown of the different phases?
Sure. Phase 1 is usually small, focused on finding a safe dose, maybe testing in different cancer types. If that looks good, phase 2 involves more people, usually with a specific cancer type, looking for early signs the treatment works.
Okay.
Phase 3 is the big one, comparing the new treatment directly against the current standard treatment. And then phase 4 happens after a drug is approved, just monitoring its long-term safety and effects in the wider population.
This makes me think of Holly Rowe, the ESPN commentator. Her story is amazing. Diagnosed with stage 3C melanoma.
Right.
She actually said she wished for stage 4, just so she could qualify for immunotherapy trials.
Wow.
Then, after what she called a ravaging experience with the standard treatment, her cancer did spread to stage 4, which is awful, obviously, but it meant she could get into an immunotherapy trial, and she says it helped save her life.
That's incredibly powerful, and it highlights not just the potential life-saving aspect, but often a huge financial benefit too, right?
Yeah, exactly. She mentioned the trial covered costs that would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars otherwise. It really shows trials can offer both medical hope and practical relief.
A really compelling case.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. If we connect all this to the bigger picture, the financial side of cancer, that can feel just as overwhelming as the medical stuff, sometimes even more so.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge source of stress. The book does a great job breaking down the different kinds of insurance. Private, Medicare Parts, A, B, C, D, TRICARE, and the plan types like HMOs, PPOs.
It's like alphabet soup sometimes.
It really is. But more importantly, it explains those key terms you will encounter. Like you get that EOB, the explanation of benefits, in the mail.
Yeah, and try to decipher it.
Right. So understanding terms like deductible, what you pay first before insurance kicks in, or co-insurance, your percentage share after the deductible. Knowing these isn't just about finance jargon. It's crucial for understanding what you'll actually owe.
It's like learning a whole new language while juggling everything else. And the challenges are real. Getting coverage denied, having to appeal. The book advises asking your doctor's office or even drug companies for help with that, right?
Yes, definitely leverage those resources. Christy, a head and neck cancer survivor, she described it perfectly as playing this insurance game.
Yeah.
And she pointed out, even with good insurance, all the copays, the premiums, the percentages, they all add up. It just gets expensive.
Painfully true for so many.
It really is. So the book gives practical tips for getting organized. Use a notebook or a folder just for this. Keep detailed notes of every call, who you spoke to, when, what was said. Set aside a regular healthcare bill day. Keep all the paperwork together somewhere safe.
Simple things, but they can probably make a big difference in feeling some control.
They really can. And there's this encouraging story from Wendy, a breast cancer survivor. A clinical trial covered her copay, and a social worker found a grant to pay for her Uber rides to the clinic. It just shows, like the book says, help is out there. You often have to proactively look for it, but it exists. The book also touches on challenges for young adults, maybe in the gig economy, and options like COBRA, the ACA marketplace, or disability like SSDI or SSI.
Okay, so amidst all this, the medical decisions, the financial stress,
What about your mind?
your spirit,
Yeah,
how do you stay emotionally well through all this?
that's such a critical piece. The book really validates those feelings, feeling nervous, scared, depressed, overwhelmed. It says flat out these are common, understandable reactions.
It's okay to not be okay, basically.
Exactly. But it also stresses if those feelings are extreme or they just don't lift, it's really important to get professional help. And it talks about resilience not as something you either have or don't, but like a muscle that needs exercise and strengthening
How do you strengthen it?
through things like heightened self-awareness, learning to embrace change, and crucially, letting go of the things that are out of our control, which is easier said than done, of course.
For sure. And connection seems to be a huge theme, too. Steve, a chronic lymphocytic leukemia survivor, he said, "You've got to have somebody to talk to. When something is bothering me, the support group is there." That shared experience.
Invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. Another thing, practical, but also about peace of mind, is setting up advance directives.
Like a living will.
Yes, a living will, a durable power of attorney for healthcare, sometimes called a healthcare proxy, maybe a do not resuscitate order, a DNR. These aren't about giving up. They're actually a huge gift to your family.
How so?
They provide clear guidance during really difficult times, reduces confusion, reduces the burden on loved ones to guess what you would have wanted. The book notes usually don't need a lawyer, but state laws differ, so you need to execute them properly.
Good to know. Now, it's not just the person diagnosed going through this. Caregivers. They get thrown into this role, often with zero training. What does that actually involve? What do they do?
Oh, it's immense. The cancer support community did research on this, and the numbers are staggering. 96% of caregivers provide emotional support. 91% go to medical appointments. 79% help make decisions. 78% coordinate care. 78% provide rides. 69% help manage money.
Wow, that's basically everything.
It's a huge, often invisible undertaking.
And I bet they feel guilty taking any time for themselves.
Absolutely. That guilt is so common, feeling overwhelmed but guilty if they do something for themselves. Devin, a caregiver, said, "We feel guilty when we do something for ourselves, even going to work."
Yeah.
But the book really emphasizes self-care isn't selfish for caregivers. It's essential. It helps them be the best caregiver they can be. You simply can't pour from an empty cup. The book also gives specific attention to young adults with cancer because their challenges can be unique.
Right. What kind of advice is tailored for them?
Things like trust your gut, be your own advocate, seek treatment where they have experience with young adults, maybe even a children's hospital, depending on the situation. Always get a second opinion. Definitely explore clinical trials.
Okay. And specific hurdles they face.
Things like sticking to treatment plans, medical adherence, using apps, or connecting with other young survivors can help there. And, as we mentioned, navigating health insurance, especially if they're in the gig economy with less stable coverage.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Another really sensitive area is talking to children about cancer. How do you approach that? What's the guidance?
Yeah, it's tough. The key is age appropriateness. For infants and toddlers, up to age 2, they won't understand cancer, but they feel changes in routine, sense emotions. You might see more tantrums, changes in eating or sleeping, clinginess.
Okay. What about preschoolers?
Preschoolers, ages 3 to 5, have some basic idea of being sick, but they also have magical thinking. They might worry they caused the illness somehow.
Oh, wow. That's heartbreaking.
It is. They might regress, act younger, have big emotions, ask the same questions over and over, or act out sickness in their play.
And for slightly older kids, school age.
School-aged kids, say 6 to 8, usually get the difference between a cold and something serious. But they might have wrong ideas, like thinking cancer is contagious, still maybe some magical thinking.
How might they react?
They might regress too, worry a lot about others, ask very direct questions about physical changes, maybe get angry if routines change, or even distance themselves from the parent who is sick, kind of out of fear.
Sarah, a metastatic breast cancer survivor, gave such practical advice on this. She said, the conversation has to be all about them. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. It should be very concrete and address how their lives might change. That feels really grounded.
It's excellent advice. Focus on their experience. Keep it simple and direct.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's unpack the tangible things you can do actively to boost your physical and mental health during treatment. Holistic wellness, starting with nutrition.
Nutrition is just so foundational for resilience. The book really highlights getting help from a hospital dietitian, especially an RD-CSO that's a registered dietitian who's a certified specialist in oncology nutrition. They really know their stuff.
Okay, so professional guidance is key.
Definitely. But the core idea isn't some super rigid diet. It's more about figuring out what works for your body by paying attention. The book suggests things like liquid meal replacements if appetite's low, eating smaller meals more often, keeping snacks handy, staying hydrated.
Right.
But the really powerful tool they recommend is keeping a daily food and symptoms diary.
Ah, tracking things.
Exactly. It becomes your personal guide. You track what you eat, when, and how you feel. Managing side effects like constipation, diarrhea, nausea becomes much easier when you see the patterns for yourself.
So it's less about a strict plan, more like personalized detective work with the dietitian helping out.
That's a great way to put it. And the book gives super practical, specific tips for common side effects. Like if you have dry mouth, avoid alcohol, caffeine, try sugar-free tart candies or gum to get saliva going.
Okay.
Nausea. Think bland, dry stuff, crackers, toast, small bites often. Maybe try ginger tea. Mouth sores. Go for cold, soft, mild things, popsicles, yogurt. Avoid anything acidic, spicy, crunchy. It's all about these small, targeted adjustments based on what your diary tells you.
That makes so much sense. Okay, besides food, moving your body,
Yeah.
even gently, that's powerful too, right?
It really is. Exercise has this surprisingly wide range of benefits during cancer treatment. It helps with physical abilities, balance, heart health, blood flow, boosts self-esteem, can even help with sexual function.
Wow, and mental health.
Big impact there too.
Yeah.
Reduces anxiety, depression, helps fight side effects like nausea and fatigue, can improve that chemo brain fog, helps control weight, prevent constipation. The list goes on.
That's quite a list. The book mentions some specific types of exercise too.
Yeah, things that are particularly good for cancer patients. Yoga, for posture, strength, balance, stress relief. Tai Chi, great for focus. Flexibility, balance, reducing falls. And Qigong, which focuses on restoring energy, health, healing.
It's good to see those highlighted. How do you start though?
Yeah.
Especially if you're feeling really wiped out.
Key is start slow. Set realistic, smart goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely.
Right, small wins.
Exactly. And always, always talk to your healthcare team first, especially after surgery or during treatment. Make sure it's safe. Keeping an exercise log can really help with motivation, seeing your progress. Christine, a tonsil cancer survivor, put it well. Try to stay active. It's hard to go to the store or just walk around the block when you don't feel well, but it's important to keep moving. Even a little bit counts. And then beyond the physical, there are mind-body techniques. These are so helpful. Meditation, especially mindfulness meditation, helps you focus your mind, dial down stress, find some calm in the chaos. It takes practice, but it really pays off.
And guided imagery.
Yes, guided imagery. That's a relaxation technique where you consciously focus on positive images, visualize calming scenes to create a sense of well-being.
I remember reading about a specific exercise, love. How does that work during treatment?
Yes. Maria Finelli's Love exercise. It's designed specifically to use during treatment to promote health, happiness. The letters stand for L, let go. Soften tension, release distracting thoughts. O, observe. Just notice sensations, be present in your body. V, visualize. Picture your favorite happy place. Then imagine your healthy cells welcoming the treatment, multiplying, while any toxins or cancer cells just dissolve away. E, energy. Feel this positive, bright white light flowing through you, bringing health, healing, making you feel empowered. It's a way to mentally engage in your healing.
That sounds really powerful, a way to feel involved.
It is. Now, throughout treatment, managing those common side effects is just an ongoing reality. The book's main message here is, don't just suffer in silence.
Talk to your team.
Always. Talk about any change, anything that's bothering you. They often have solutions, maybe different meds, maybe a temporary break from treatment or adjusting the dose.
So building on what we touched on earlier, what about things like cognitive changes, that chemo brain, or nerve problems? Those sound really tricky.
They can be. For cognitive changes, strategies like making lists, using a journal, maybe letting people around, so they can be patient, those things help. For lymphedema, that's swelling from fluid buildup, compression sleeves, specific exercises, avoiding heavy lifting are key.
Okay.
Nerve problems, neuropathy, that needs attention. Making your home environment safer to prevent falls. And reporting any changes right away. Pain, tingling, weakness to your team.
And pain itself is such a big one for many people.
Huge. The key is tracking it. Use that simple 0 to 10 pain scale. Report it regularly so your team understands the pattern and severity. Then they can adjust meds or suggest other therapies.
Right.
Skin and nail changes. Report those immediately, especially with some newer therapies, because they can get bad if ignored. Sleep problems. Work on sleep habits. Try meditation. Maybe meds if it's severe. And sexual side effects. Open talk with your team, with your partner, is the first step to finding solutions. And one last really important concept here, palliative care. It's so often misunderstood.
Yeah, people often think it just means end-of-life care, right? Hospice.
Exactly, but that's not it. Palliative care is focused on improving your quality of life by managing symptoms from the cancer itself or from the treatment. And here's the critical part. It's appropriate at any stage of cancer.
Any stage, not just the end.
Any stage. It's about living as well as possible now. Hospice is specifically for end-of-life care when curative treatment is no longer the goal. Palliative care can happen right alongside curative treatment.
That's a really important distinction. Can you give an example of how it helps?
Absolutely. The book shares this really powerful story. A patient had terrible pain from bone metastases. Palliative care offered an option. Single fraction radiation, just one larger dose instead of maybe 10 or 20 smaller ones. It turned off the pain like a light switch with hardly any side effects. It dramatically improved their quality of life, let them live better right then. It shows how this specialized support can make a huge difference in managing symptoms and suffering, no matter the prognosis.
Wow. Okay, so treatment eventually ends for many people, but the journey, it doesn't just stop there, does it? What does the roadmap say about life after active treatment?
No, it definitely doesn't stop. Survivorship is a whole new chapter. The book defines a survivor really broadly. Anyone who has been diagnosed with cancer from the time of diagnosis until the end of their life. And that includes family, friends, caregivers too.
That's an inclusive definition?
It is. And emotionally, it's often a big transition. Many survivors feel kind of lost after treatment ends. The structure is gone. The frequent appointments stop. Andy, an acute myeloid leukemia survivor, said it plainly. I felt lost after treatment was over. It's common to feel adrift.
And one of the biggest things people grapple with, and the book highlights this, is the fear of the cancer coming back. That's anxiety.
Well, that fear is incredibly normal, almost expected. But it can also be really debilitating. Any new ache or pain can trigger it. Taking follow-up meds can trigger it. Anniversaries of diagnosis.
How do you cope with that?
The book gives really concrete tips. First, learn the actual signs of recurrence for your cancer type. Knowledge is power. Second, keep up with all your medical tests and follow-ups. Close medical monitoring is key, it says. Third, talk about your feelings. Don't bottle them up. Express them. Fourth, try to look for the positive, even if you're not feeling upbeat all the time. And finally, empower yourself. Take control of what you can control, make plans, but also try to acknowledge and accept what you can't. And it circles back to Maria Finelli's exercise again, the one for managing fear. Acknowledge the fear, gently release it. Use those affirmations. I love and accept myself just as I am. Thank you, cells, for doing an amazing job. Remind yourself that right now, in this moment, you're okay.
That sounds like a really useful practice. So how do you proactively navigate the survivorship chapter?
The book offers 10 actions for survivors. Simple things like stay in the moment, ask for what you need, seek relaxation, retain control where you can.
Little anchors.
Exactly. And the cancer support community has a program called Cancer Transitions. It's specifically designed to help people move from active treatment into survivorship, focuses on emotional health, eating well, staying active, managing medical follow-up.
And using those SMART goals, again, for lifestyle changes. Right?
Yeah.
That keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Seems really key to avoid getting overwhelmed.
It really is. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. Small steps make big changes sustainable. It's about progress, not sudden perfection.
And finally, this whole experience, it often leads people to think deeply about their values, about legacy, what they want to leave behind.
It really does prompt that kind of reflection. The book talks about finding closure and leaving a legacy in different ways. There's emotional closure, having those important talks with loved ones, saying thank you, maybe apologizing, healing old wounds. Then there's this beautiful idea of an ethical will. It's not about money or property. It's a document where you share your values, life lessons, hopes for your loved ones, a kind of spiritual inheritance.
That's lovely. What about more tangible things?
Yeah, mementos and messages. Like organizing family photos and writing captions, telling the stories, recording videos, sharing memories, maybe teaching a skill or hobby, writing down favorite family recipes, crafting notes for the future, for kids or grandkids, for milestones you might miss.
Oh, wow. Letters for birthdays, graduations.
Exactly. Or even giving away special sentimental items now while you're there to share the story behind them. And the book includes this incredibly moving essay by Dr. Joseph Stern, Grief Connects Us.
What's it about?
He's a physician, and he talks about how losing his sister and then her husband to cancer fundamentally changed him. It broke down his professional walls, taught him about the liberating powers of grief and compassion. He realized that when doctors can't cure, their role becomes to console.
That's profound.
It really is. He learned that grief connects us all. It fosters compassion, gratitude, grace. It's a powerful perspective shift.
A truly powerful thought to kind of bring our exploration of this roadmap toward a close.
It is. And the book itself ends with this really gentle, encompassing message. Most importantly, at this time of life, be gentle with yourself. Take care of yourself. Lean on others and seek help as needed. Spend time with people and on activities that bring you joy. Make the most of these days. The journey is not over yet.
We've really journeyed through a deep and, I think, incredibly practical roadmap today. From that initial shock of diagnosis through all the treatment decisions, managing daily life, and then looking towards survivorship and legacy.
Yeah, and hopefully we've reinforced that core message. It's a tough path, no doubt, but you absolutely don't have to walk it alone. With the right information, the right support, that community, you can find resilience. You can find ways to proactively manage this journey.
So as you listening, reflect on everything we've discussed today, all the wisdom from your cancer roadmap. Maybe just consider this. What's one tangible step, could be really small, that you might take today, either to embrace your own resilience if this is your journey, or maybe to offer truly meaningful support to someone else who's navigating their own cancer roadmap?